So we'll start the session with invocation prayer.
Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Isavasya Upanishad. We'll chant the first 5 mantras.
तेन त्यक्तेन भुञ्जीथामागृधः कस्य स्विद्धनम् कुर्वन्नेवेह कर्माणि जिजीविषेच्छतगो समाः एवं त्वयि नान्यथेतोऽस्ति न कर्म लिप्यते नरे असूर्यानामते लोका अन्धेन तमसावृताः तागुस्ते प्रेत्याभिगच्छन्ति ये केचात्महनो जनाः अनेजदेकं मनसो जवीयो नैनद्देवा आप्नुवन् पूर्वमर्षत् तद्धावतो ज्ञानत्येति तिष्ठत्तस्मिन्नपो मातरिष्वा दधाति तदेजति तन्नैजति तद्दूरे तद्वन्तिके तदन्तरस्य सर्वस्य तदु सर्वस्यास्य बाह्यतः
So last week we studied the first mantra of Isavasya Upanishad. So it's a very powerful mantra, it's a very potent mantra. And why we say that? Because all 4 parts which constitutes any Upanishad, they are packed in this first mantra. See, for example, there is declaration of supreme reality. Then there is explanation of what is supreme reality all about, path to supreme reality. And then there is directional advice given to seekers. So any Upanishad would have these 4 parts. So mantra 1 has got all 4. So that is how powerful it is. And last week, one by one, we discussed what it means. So, right in the first line, he declares the supreme reality. The entire world is nothing but supreme reality. Whatever you are experiencing, whatever you can imagine, tangible, intangible, is nothing but supreme reality, is Brahman, is God. And you are part of that supreme reality. You are that supreme reality. Tat Tvam Asi. So that's the declaration. So you understand what is your real worth by this declaration. And whatever is happening in the world, whatever you are experiencing, internally or externally, the substratum is nothing but supreme reality. That is the explanation. And we discussed one or two examples. To understand any change, you need a changeless substratum, without which you can't understand, notice any change. So we notice changes which are happening externally. Similarly, our personality is constantly changing. There are different perceptions, there are different emotions, there are different thoughts. So, what is that changeless substratum upon which this changing phenomena called world is happening? So, that is supreme reality. So, that is explanation of what is supreme reality all about. And then line 3, he explains the path. So, how do you apprehend that supreme reality? How you get to that supreme reality? That is by renouncing the world. World is a product of your ignorance. See, that's the connection. Where there is supreme reality, you and I have superimposed a pluralistic world which actually does not exist. So, how do you get to supreme reality? You have to renounce the world. How do you get to rope? You have to renounce the snake mentally. It is a mental concept. Mentally, you have to renounce it. And then also we discussed concept of renunciation from a relative level. That is just to please you. I mean, you should go home with something, you know, all that explanation. I mean, which is practical. You start from that, without which you can't get to the ultimate renunciation of the word. The problem with you and me is we are attached to each and every aspect of the word. Whatever you contact, you get attached to it. So the formula is you function in a spirit of renunciation. You don't give up anything in renunciation. See, when we say you give up word, I mean, what are you taking up? You're taking up something higher. In fact, the highest reality you are taking up. So what are you renouncing? You're renouncing nothing. You're renouncing your ignorance. So similarly, from relative level, when we say you must function in the spirit of renunciation, actually, what are you renouncing? You are renouncing your lower values and you are taking up higher values. In fact, only when you take up higher values, this is what we are learning, this is what scriptures are teaching us. Lower values will automatically fall off. And when lower values fall off, what do you get? You get peace, you get harmony, you get success, you get productivity. This is what everybody wants. So, therefore, you have to function in a spirit of renunciation in all aspects of life. So, that's the path to Brahman. And then he gave directional advice. Ma gruda kasya svidhanam. Why are you coveting anybody's wealth? If you deserve something, it will come to you. So your focus has to be on efforts. And more philosophical or subtle explanation is, I mean, whose wealth is it? I mean, the whole world belongs to you because you are supreme reality. World is supreme reality. So what are you coveting? You know? So these were the main points in Mantra 1, and I think we had in-depth discussion. Each and every aspect was discussed. Now, the thought flow is, see, Mantra 1 is meant for seekers who are highly evolved, whose focus is only on the goal of self-realization. They have that mumukshatva, that burning desire for liberation. So for them, the spiritual practice, sadhana, is renunciation and meditation, meaning contemplation, contemplate on the reality. But to do that, you have to be in a high state of evolution. See, it's easier said than done. So therefore, he says, if you cannot renounce the world, or if you cannot function in a spirit of service and sacrifice, renunciation, if you cannot meditate or contemplate on reality, do some action. So it is mantra 2 is addressed to seekers who are relatively desire ridden, extroverts. So that's the thought flow. So we'll chant mantra 2.
कुर्वन्नेवेह कर्माणि जिजीविषेच्छतगो समाः एवं त्वयि नान्यथेतोऽस्ति न कर्म लिप्यते नरे कुर्वन्नेवेह कर्माणि जिजीविषेच्छतगो समाः एवं त्वयि नान्यथेतोऽस्ति न कर्म लिप्यते नरे
Translation. Performing actions alone, here one should wish to live 100 years. Thus, there is none other than this for you. Action does not stain man. Action does not stain man, meaning why action is tiring you. It should not. You can go on for 100 years, I mean indefinitely. Don't worry about getting tired. Action should not tire you. In fact, action purifies your personality. So if you cannot renounce, if you cannot contemplate on supreme reality, he says, keep on acting. Now, what action he is not going to explain. So we need to understand step by step what it means. So, like I said, mantra 2 is meant for extroverts, people who are active. And mantra 1 is meant for introverts who have relatively less desires. So you have to understand this difference in your interest. See, a lot of people, they get into that spirit, and they are genuine. That let me give up everything and study and reflect. It's not possible. It's not your fault because you have not analyzed your personality. See, if you are meant for concentrated study, reflection, contemplation, meditation, that's what you need to do. There is no doubt about it. But are you designed for that? And you have to plow through action to reach that state. That's the guideline, which is extremely important. As a seeker, you have to understand it. And fortunately, all of you know in what context we use the word introvert and extrovert, isn't it? So those who have a lot of desires, relatively speaking, we call them extroverts. And those who have less desires, relatively speaking, such people, they are classified as introverts. So what is happening in life to all of us? That we are bombarded with stimuli from the world, which you cannot avoid. Eyes, ears, nose, skin, and tongue. These are the 5 organs of perception we have. And then there is corresponding stimuli. There is color and form for the eyes. There is sound for the ears. There is taste for the tongue. There is smell for the nose. There is touch for the skin. It's a stimuli. So constantly we are bombarded with this stimuli. Your organs of perception, they by default, they receive the stimuli. And only if there is desire, then there is reaction, and then there is response. If there is no desire, or if there are less desires, then there is less reaction, there is less response. But if you are inundated with desires, so there will be constant reaction, there is constant response. So those who have less desires, introverts, they will receive stimuli. How can you stop stimuli, right? I think yesterday in Bhagavad Gita class, somebody very innocently asked the question. I mean, everybody is discussing about whatever, war, this and that. I mean, see, if you don't have that desire, I mean, it doesn't make any difference for argument's sake. But if you have that desire, if you are interested in that particular subject, then only you will react, then only you will respond. Maybe you will get into arguments and whatever. I take this view. No, I take that view. Simple example. So, introverts, since they have few desires, and also the quality of these desires is they're very fine desires. You know, they receive the stimuli, but there is not much reaction, there is not much response. So, therefore, their mind is calm, intellect is sharp and available. So, for such seekers, for such class of people, study and reflection is recommended because they are tuned in for that. But if you have a lot of desires, right, you will receive stimuli, there will be reaction, there will be response. So extroverted people, they have to function in the world to fulfill their desires. It cannot be avoided because that is your basic makeup of an extroverted person. So therefore, extroverted people, they have to plow through action. To extroverted people, action is recommended. Are you with me? See, we often give example of test tube chemical. There are two tubes. So in tube number one, there is chemical, and you pour another chemical into that. What will happen? There is a reaction. There's a chemical reaction. But if the tube is empty, there is no chemical, and then you pour another chemical into that, what will happen? There is no reaction. So you apply that formula. So if you have desires, you have to fulfill your desires. I mean, you will be forced to fulfill your desires. So, what is spiritual practice for such people? Are you with me? If you don't have desires, then this discussion is goes out of the window. Where are you going? Why are you running? Which labor weekend? What sell? What this? You will be sitting there, doing your e-learning, contemplating on supreme reality. But we know it's not possible. So therefore, you have to plunge into action to fulfill your desires. But then, how should you function? That is important. So a lot of people do not understand this very basic. Even in Bhagavad Gita, this is what we learned, chapter 3. Like Arjuna is asking the question, should I tell me, should I follow action? Should I follow knowledge? Jnana yogena sankhya karma yogena yogina. So those who are introverts, they have to follow path of knowledge. Those who are extroverts, they have to follow path of action. So it is in your interest to understand this basic distinction. Most people, they don't understand. It's not that one is superior, other person is inferior. There is no such thing. So that's the backdrop of this mantra. So if you cannot study, if you cannot reflect, if you cannot contemplate, if you cannot meditate, what is spiritual practice for you? Action. But what action? No explanation. Why no explanation? Because they understand only one action, nishkama karma, selfless action, desireless action. Why they understand only that action? That itself is a compromise. Person who is reveling in some different frequency, okay, like grudgingly says, okay, you can't reflect on supreme reality. Okay, go do some action. It's a different class of people. So when they say you have to act, what they mean is nishkama karma, desireless action, selfless action. Any other action is sakama karma for them. Sakama karma means action with desire. Whether it is selfish, whether it is unselfish, there is no distinction. Both are impure according to them. But I have that higher ideal, I mean, I'm working for the community. Say, brother, it's a karma karma, it's a desire-ridden action. So they club both selfish and unselfish action in the same category. See, that's the level. That is where, as a seeker, we have to lift ourselves. You get the point. They're not going to give you a pat on the back. So much work I have done for the community. I have won so many rewards. It's a karma karma. What are you talking about? It's a desire-ridden action. It's a very low grade of action. So to explain, to understand that, we need to bring in the concept of selfish desires, unselfish desires, unselfish desires. Otherwise, that's not what is the message here, but we need to do that. So for starters, any action, if it is backed by a desire, it will produce more desires. You have to understand this theorem is extremely important. Action per se cannot produce desires. If action is backed by a desire, if your intention is desire, if it is desired in action, then only it will produce more desires. It will leave a residue of desires. Now, if action is backed by selfish desires, it will produce selfish desires. If action is backed by unselfish desires, it will produce unselfish desires. If action is not backed by any desires, what will it produce? It will not produce anything. So such actions, they are called as nishkama karma, desireless action or selfless action. So what is selfless action? You have only one goal. It's important you understand this. I think I saw a few questions in Q&A. I mean, we have been discussing this concept for how long? Long time. But it's not a difficult concept. So I think there are at least 2 or 3 questions, right? So what is selfless action? You have only one goal in life. What is that goal? See, there also there is no compromise. There is no, you can't say no, there are 5 goals. As a human being, you are supposed to have only one mission. What is that mission? What is the purpose of your life? To find out
Self-realization.
find out your identity, to reach the state of self-realization. So you have that fixation. Your intellect has that fixation, right? You're firmly focused on that goal. And then, since you have few desires, you function in a world in a spirit of service and sacrifice without wanting anything. See, therefore, selfless, small self. Small self is body, mind, intellect. So you're not interested in any result, either tangible or intangible, at sense level, action level, emotion level, thought level. So you don't have any personal interest in it. Then why do you function? Because you have that talent, whatever is your talent. You could be in business, you could be in law, you could be in medicine, you could be in sports, you could be in politics, whatever. So you just express your talent to the best of your ability. That's it. You're not interested in any terrestrial gain. You don't want anything from that endeavor, because your only goal in life is what? Fixation on the self. But since you have a talent, whatever talent you have, you express that talent to the best of your ability. There is no ego, there is no I, there is no my, there is no doership, there is no enjoyership. You get rid of all these things from the action. What is left is pure action. So such pure action is called as Nishkama karma, selfless action. I hope it is clear to the group. Maybe in the past, I think we did not explain in detail like this. We just say function in the spirit of renunciation. There is no ego, there is no I, there is no my. No, there is no terrestrial interest at all. But you function. You function using your intellect to the best of your ability. Some of you are in the corporate sector, some of you could be in their own business. So you do it to the best of your ability. See, it's not that you're not interested in the result. There is no craving for result. This is where the confusion comes. Without result, without goal, how can you perform? It's not possible. See, even to organize these lectures here, the amount of brainstorming which goes on. So definitely we have a result in mind, that everybody should be comfortable. The quality of audio video should be top class. I mean, Jigar knows, Vijay knows. I mean, how many times we have fine tune, the camera, the microphone, and this and that. So it's not that you don't have result in mind. That is where conception, the misunderstanding comes. There is no craving for the result. So you do whatever you have to do to the best of your ability. That is the beginning, that is the end of the action. There is no prefix, there is no suffix. The only goal you have in mind is the transcendental reality, nothing terrestrial. So such actions, they are called as what? Nishkama karma. Now, where is this and what actions you and I are performing? You see the difference. So the selfish action or self-centered action is a slow poison. Write it down. I mean it. Suddenly they stop taking notes. Are you taking notes? When I come to your place for lunch, I want to see that line. Selfish action is a
slow poison.
Pankaj ji, your son is taking down notes. Are you? Selfish action is a slow poison. It will corrode your entire personality, or it is corroding your entire personality. It's a matter of time. Eventually, action has to come to a grinding halt. It's a matter of time. And all along, it is full of stress, worry, anxiety, conflicts, fatigue, desperately waiting for weekends and vacation. Next week, when is Labor Day weekend? When is Labor Day weekend? If I don't take a break, I will collapse. And the great man is saying action does not stain you. Why are you getting tired? They don't know. Why do you need a Labor Day weekend? So that is the price you pay for self-centered action. And most people, they are self-centered. So you get the cause and effect relationship. Why there is worry, why there is anxiety, why there is stress, why there is disharmony. All of you are working in a corporate sector or in business. Why these conflicts? What is the reason? Why politics? Why backstabbing? Why manipulation? Why can't we all work in the spirit of cooperative endeavor? Forget about corporate sector, business, home, it could be like a war zone. If both parties are self-centered, if one party is unselfish, there is some hope, there is some peace. If both are self-centered, it's a nuclear holocaust every day. And children are the victims because where will they go? So any self-centered action corrodes your personality. Far superior to self-centered action is unselfish action. There is no doubt about it. But it is still desire-ridden action. And since it is desire-ridden, it will deposit more desires in your personality. That's the price you pay. So actually you are devolving. So what is definition of spiritual evolution? To the extent you have removed your desires, to that extent you are spiritual. Yes, selfish person is depositing selfish desires. Unselfish person is depositing unselfish desires. But still, it is devolution. It's not evolution. You're going in the wrong direction. But having said that, fine. If you cannot conceive nishkama karma, at least come to the level of unselfish action, which is okay to begin with. According to us, not according to the master. They don't understand unselfish and selfish. And also, there will be affectation even in unselfish action. Whatever goals you have, if those goals they are not fulfilled, you will be affected. And also, there is no end to it. That desire is endless. You want to help the needy. It's a noble desire, but it is endless, right? You will not find any satisfaction. You want to spread this knowledge. All of us are engaged in this, and especially there are people, there are 18 people, genuinely they're involved. I don't know, this knowledge has to go to everywhere, in Detroit, Michigan. Even if 1 million people, they get benefit of this knowledge, we will not be happy. And at some stage, there will be disappointment. At some stage, our actions will slow down. But desireless action is, even if there are 10 people there, you will go on. That's the beauty. And incidentally, that attitude will spread this knowledge to the whole world. It's somewhere in the Himalayas, the great man is sitting, the enlightened master. What audience? Maybe 2 people, 5 people, 10 people. So they spoke to a handful of people thousands of years back. And who is the beneficiary? Who got benefited by that, gathering? Us. When? After how long? Centuries after centuries. See, that's the power of selfless action. So, with selfless action, you can go on and on. So, therefore, he says, action does not stain man. So, stain can be understood in 2 ways. It does not leave a residue of desires, and also there is no fatigue. Why are you getting tired? Why are you saying, somehow I can work for 5 days, I need weekends and vacations? It's not supposed to happen. Something is going wrong. So, what is going wrong? So, it makes you reflect because there is no friction. Why action can go and on? I mean, you can continue with the action because there is no friction. There is no desire. There is no stress. There is no worry. There is no conflict. So, how can you get tired? And we get a taste of this in a way with young children, 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old kids. Do they get tired? Non-stop. I mean, anywhere you go. See, I go for a walk, there are beautiful trails near my house. And we see like kids 3, 4, 5-year-old or whatever. I mean, it is impossible for parents to control them. Yesterday I was hearing the father 10th time he screamed at his son, Gabriel, this is a final warning. Gabriel, this is a final warning. Gabriel, where is Gabriel? He's like a butterfly everywhere. Mom and dad like, honey, I need Coke, Got a cramp in my leg. It's okay. Yeah. No, I'm good. I'm good. See, that is why Swami Ramatirtha says, intense work is rest. How many times you heard this statement? Intense work is rest. If you want peace, if you want rest, you can find it only in action. And we are trying to find peace where? By abstaining from action. This is a different frequency. Therefore, you have to plow through action to reach a state of renunciation and meditation. Are you with me? And only action which can purify your personality is selfless action. Do you get the cause and effect? Action does not stain man. Underline this statement. Action should not tire you, to use modern language. There should not be any fatigue. If action is tiring you, if it is producing fatigue, what is the cause? Selfish. It is a desire-ridden action. Now, that desire could be unselfish, that desire could be selfish. So, what is it you need to correct? It's extremely important. Do I have to do a different action? What is it? I mean, some of you are in corporate sector, somebody is in business, somebody could be in politics. Doesn't matter what you're doing. So what is it you need to correct? Question is open to everybody.
You should have selfless action.
Do it with perform without desire.
My attitude towards the action.
Perfect. You don't have to change your action. See, that's the difference. And that is where the misunderstanding comes. People, they feel that this is worldly action, this is spiritual action. There is no such thing. And I always give this example. Say, right now, we are transacting the highest knowledge. There is no other knowledge higher than this, the knowledge of the scriptures. Is this a noble action?
Yes.
Depends on your intention.
It depends, not necessarily. If my intention is selfish, what noble action? Yeah, externally it looks noble, but it's not. It's intention which makes it noble or whatever. So I could be interested in something tangible or intangible, right? It's a self-centered action. Or it could be unselfish. Like genuinely, I want to spread this knowledge. No, I mean, I don't have any personal agenda, but everybody should get this knowledge. Why not? But it's unselfish. Selfless is just do what you ought to do. Now, why are you expecting any results? That doesn't mean don't have goals. That doesn't mean there is no planning, there is no programming. All that you do. But you just do that action to the best of your ability. That is the beginning, that is the end. So it's not that you're doing different action. Same action, your attitude changes. So your attitude could be selfish, your attitude could be unselfish, or it could be selfless. So only selfless action, nishkama karma, will purify your personality, nothing else. Only nishkama karma will remove desires. No other action will do that. So therefore he says, fine, I understand if you cannot study, reflect, contemplate, meditate, do some action. What action?
Selfless.
What's that?
Because there is no other action other than
Selfless.
selfless action. According to who?
Master.
Not according to you and me, according to
Master.
the authority. Now, mantra 3, he is going to drop a bombshell. And I'm warning you, I'm cautioning you. It applies to good many of us. I don't want to say most of us, good many of us. Or at least one foot is there for sure. So if he says, if you cannot study, reflect, renounce, contemplate, meditate, do some nishkama karma. If you cannot do both, he said this is the beginning of the end of you. Then you're not a human being. You go to a sunless world, a surya namate lokam. Let's find out what he's saying. Mantra 3, please.
असूर्यानामते लोका अन्धेन तमसावृताः तागुस्ते प्रेत्याभिगच्छन्ति ये केचात्महनो जनाः असूर्यानामते लोका अन्धेन तमसावृताः तागुस्ते प्रेत्याभिगच्छन्ति ये केचात्महनो जनाः.
Translation. Those worlds enveloped by blinding darkness are deemed sunless, asurya. Those people saying their self, the divinity in them, and departing, go to them. So he's saying it is a spiritual suicide because you're going in the wrong direction. By self, it means the Atman. So when you discard the Supreme Self and when you embrace the world, you are committing a spiritual
Suicide.
And when you do that, what happens? You go to a sunless world, asurya namate loka. Those departing, go to them. Those people slaying their self and departing, go to them. Departing meaning cause and effect. It is not because of somebody else's action. So when you are not capable of study, reflection on this knowledge, when you don't want to improve your personality, when you don't want to get the higher values of life, and when you don't perform selfless action, you will go to a blinding darkness, sunless world. So you are punished by your own actions. This is what you need to understand. When we say you are punished by your own actions, meaning cause and effect. No extraneous factor is responsible. No extraneous agency is responsible. No bad upbringing, no bad stars, no bad political environment. All that is rubbish. You make yourself, you unmake yourself. So such people, such ignorant people, they go to sunless world. Loka meaning realm of experience. It is not a geographical place. So when he says sunless world, what is this sunless world? It's like blinding darkness. That is a life of an ignorant person. That is sunless world. Full of mental agitations, stress, worry, anxiety, disharmony, conflicts, frustration. Please stop. I can see that reaction. No, I have to continue. I am describing what is sunless world. Sounds familiar, isn't it? No energy, somehow working, desperately waiting for weekends and vacations. no inspiration or no lasting inspiration. So no self-centered person can be happy. It is a law of life. That is a sunless world. It's poetry. Such a person, he is tossed by the world, knocks after knocks in life, due to your own attachments and possessiveness. Not only you're self-centered, on top of that, you are extremely attached and possessive to all the objects and beings. So how can you find any happiness? So when there is a sun, it's like, oh, it's very vibrant. There is action, there is activity, there is energy. Here there is no energy. Tension, worry, anxiety. In Garuda Purana is a story. See, the highest is Upanishad and Bhagavad Gita, but also there is another branch of knowledge called as Puranas. So it's meant for people who cannot think, relatively speaking. So they need stories, and that story has got a model, you know. See, if you have knowledge, you'll understand cause and effect. No explanation is required. But there are people who are not capable of understanding that. They cannot quote stories. So there are various Puranas, various stories. And most people take these stories literally, especially Indians. You know, they therefore there's so much of superstition in the name of religion. So one such famous storybook, you can say, is Garuda Purana. And there he describes what is sunless world. The whole Purana is like that. I just picked up 2 or 3 examples. Whole Purana we take, I don't know what will happen. We say enough, you know, I can't take it anymore. So where he describes what is that sunless world. So there in that sunless world, inmates, they are bound by a rope and beaten again and again. Imagine somebody ties me with a rope to this stage and perform, and and all of you start beating me. 1 week, 1 month, I'm here, and everybody comes and start beating me with a broom or stick or whatever. So he describes that is how inmates are tortured in sunless world. It's symbolic, and I will prove it to you that it applies to almost everybody. Take, for example, relationships, right? Sorry, I have to discuss it, right? Every day, every other day, there's a fight. Could be a fight, right? Conflicts and this and arguments and crying and screaming and throwing things and I don't know what all. And you can't walk out also. Where will you go? End of the day, lady is waiting for you. Husband is waiting for you. It could be, or you may not do manifest all these things. Internally, you could be frustrated. Somebody is beating you. So it could be years after years. It could be, God only knows. So fine, you get fed up, you change lady or change a man, right? Second marriage, same thing. The divorce rate for second marriages is more than the first divorce. The statistics, so don't get excited. You give up second lady two, third lady or third man, same thing. Fights will not end. Richard Burton, 8 times poor fellow tried. The world record, I think. Same lady he married twice. I mean, there has to be some ounce of thinking. So bound by a rope and beaten again and again by conflicts, by arguments, by crying, by frustration. For you, it is not petty. It's a storm in a teacup, but for you, it is a hurricane, Or it could be the corporate world. Somehow you're working there, the frustration, the fights, the manipulation. Nobody is working, what to do, this and that. And you can't leave the job also. Even if you leave the job, next job, same thing is going to happen. So you're bound in a relationship, you're bound in a job, bound in a profession, and full of frustration. Mentally, you are beaten over and over again. And it has got nothing to do with a person or what you do. That's the whole problem. See, if you do not know how to relate to another person, you will have problems. Othello had problem with a lady like Desdemona. You can't get a better spouse than Desdemona, right? And he messed up the whole relationship. You could have best of spouse, best of family, best of profession, best of everything. You could mess up your life. That's that beating you get, mental agitation, stress, worry, day in and day out. And that beating, who is beating you?
Yourself.
Hmm? You yourself are beating you. See, nobody understands that. But I say, no, it's my wife. I don't know, virtue of paragon. I mean, she is demon. You go to wife, she say like, I mean, I'm so innocent. He's the demon. So it has got nothing to do with place. It has got nothing to do with people. It has got nothing to do with environment. It has got to do with you. So you are bitten by your own actions. You change your attitude from self-centered, you become unselfish. Suddenly the entire complexion of life changes. From unselfish, you become selfless. There's a definition of heaven on earth. So if you have that mental disease, you will carry that disease wherever you go. So therefore, you need to cure yourself, purify your desires with this knowledge. So Garuda Purana. So number one, inmates are bound by a rope and beaten again and again. That is my life. That is everybody's life. Second description. You are left in a room, dark room, and your capacity to think is taken away from you. A strange place. This is how they torture. So there is no intelligence and there is no sight. So they take away your capacity to think and they take away your eyes. Don't ask how they do that. That's the punishment. Now it applies to everybody, right? See, no intelligence means there is no capacity to think. Most people cannot think. There is no buddhi. The whole life you are living on impulses, on your mind. Why there is no buddhi? Why there is no intellect? Because you have not put any efforts. Why you have not put any efforts? Because this knowledge is not accessible, is not available. So since your intellect is not developed, your buddhi is not developed, you are like a blind man. Whatever you contact, there will be confusion, there will be lack of clarity. A blind man cannot see. See, imagine there is a dark room, just to explain the concept, right? This room, and we switch off all the lights. And we all are trying to find our way to the upper level. What will happen? Pitch dark it becomes. What will happen?
Yes.
We'll run into each other, we'll hit furniture, we'll hit the wall, absolute chaos. This is what is happening to most people. Oh, if you don't have clarity, you will not know, first of all, how to manage your family. You will not know how to manage your finances. You will not know how to manage your profession. You will not know nothing. So therefore, you get knocks and shocks of life. And you are complaining, oh, it's not because of me. I mean, I'm innocent because of the situation, because of circumstances. You do not have that clarity to manage your life. You may be a good person, but still you will make a blunder of mistakes after mistakes after mistakes. No intelligence and no sight. There is no clarity in any aspect of your life. Isn't this the description of most of us? To a good extent. You may agree, you may not agree. That's not the point. But at least 70-80% applies to all of us. It's a question of more or less. And this applies to individual level as well as society level. Both is applicable. Individual level already explained. Not interested in spiritual evolution, not interested in selfless action. Less work, more pay. This is what the whole world wants. So where it is sending you? The sunless world. Or as a society, you may decay and degenerate, you know. So I'll give you two real life examples, then you'll understand what is this Asurya, sunless world. Long time back, maybe 10, 12 years back, it happened in Michigan. So one couple, in fact, a man came to me. He was exposed to this knowledge because his friend introduced him. Came for 4 or 5 classes in 3 or 4 months. But nice person. Both husband and wife were quite nice people. And I mean, he came one day after the class. He suddenly popped up after 3 or 4 weeks, and then he said, Ameji, I have to give you good news. You know, he's in his 50s. So what is the good news? So finally, I have decided to retire. He was working, I don't know, for the well-known IT company. And he said, like, I have like enough money. I think he had a beautiful house on the lake and all that. Children all went to private school and everybody went to Ivy League schools and all that. And I mean, there is no financial worry. There is nothing. So I said, yeah, what can I say? He's not asking me anything. He's telling me, right? And he said, I know what Vedanta says, do not retire. So I'm not retiring. He only said, because I'm going to catch up with my golf. I'm going to do a lot of traveling. Me and my wife, there are many parts of the world we haven't visited. We are planning to spend more time with our children, and definitely we'll pursue Vedanta. 13 years back, he said, I never seen him after that. You get my point. Upanishad says you are committing a spiritual suicide. Slaying their self, departing, go to them. I mean, where is he going? Everything is highly self-centered, right? Whole life he has worked selfishly. And even after retirement, Upanishad says 100 years you work. He says like, I mean, I will pursue my indulgence even after I retire. I mean, I couldn't tell him, this is what Upanishad says. We are going to the sunless world. He believes he is going into the sun, bright sunshine. Is exactly opposite. It's a spiritual suicide. Why it is a spiritual suicide? There is neither the higher values nor there is unselfishness. Forget about selflessness. Only unselfish action, selfless action can purify your personality. So neither there is knowledge nor there is service and sacrifice. What is left? Dark, sunless world. So that is number one. Second interesting experience I had was at a corporate talk, not far from here, maybe like 200 miles. Somebody had invited me for a talk. Very successful person. I mean, man of Indian origin. He came from India with nothing, got his PhD, double PhD, started an industry, and he was employing 350 or 400 people. Very successful, nice man. And he said he invited me for a talk, and most of the audience was local, somewhere in rural Ohio or wherever, or Minnesota, I forget now where. And so I said, wow, I mean, so many local people, hardly there were 5, 6 Indians there. And the way he introduced me, and all of you know that story, the man sitting on a beach, basking in the sunshine. So one person comes, businessman, asks him, what are you doing? We all know that joke, right? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? To enjoy. This is what I'm doing. I'm not getting into the details. So he gave that story for 5-7 minutes, and then he said, "This is what Amit is going to teach you." Where did you? I didn't tell this to you. I'm going to teach you the opposite. And then he's asking in the 10-minute long introduction, hey Tom, what is your ambition? I know you want, you like Florida, right? Miami Beach, you like. Hey Jigar, what is your ambition? You like, I don't know, Palm Beach, So you want to know how to relax there? Amit is going to tell you. Asurya namate loka. So in both these examples, it is equivalent of a life of an animal, if you understand it. And that's the life of an animal. They're not capable of higher values, right? The only focus is on acquisition and enjoyment. I mean, if there is no knowledge, if there is no service, if there is no sacrifice, what is left? What is left? Sunless, beaten by a, bound by a rope and beaten over and over again. I don't know whether that example hits you. So now you get the thought flow. So if you cannot contemplate on the reality, study reflection, that's what it means. Or if you cannot work selflessly in life, doesn't matter what you are doing, what is left? Sunless world. And we all want to go to sunless world. That's our aspiration. But fortunately, as a human being, you can correct the course of your life anytime. See, that is why that word departing is important. Those people slaying their self and departing, go to them. If you're ignorant, you will go in the direction of the world. But as a human being, you can change that direction anytime. No animal can do that. You cannot go and talk to a tiger or a tigress. Why are you so destructive? Why are you doing this? Come, Upanishad classes are happening. Something you will learn. Serve and sacrifice. I mean, it's not possible. You could be as destructive or far more destructive than a carnivore as a human being, but at any time you can change the course of your action.
That's a good
That's
feeling.
the beauty of a human life. So don't worry. See, good many of us are living in a sunless world. I mean, accept it. What's wrong in accepting that? If not 100%, none of you look convinced. I mean, it's not my fault. No, at least me, spare me, spare me. So it doesn't matter. But as a human being, you can change the course of your life. When? Anytime meaning no time. Anytime means what? Now. Now. You could walk out of this class as a different person with that conviction and understanding. No, enough is enough. So very powerful mantra. So number one is meant for high quality seekers. So try to get there. And when he says renounce, study, reflect, meditate, as per your capacity, you have to do that. And what are we doing? All of you are studying, but action is must. Whatever profession you are involved in, there is no such thing called as retirement. We often say that. Swamiji says all over the world. So strike out that word retirement from your dictionary. Therefore, I have that example. That man, he's smiling when he's telling me, I'm going to retire. He was feeling so relieved, and I sympathize with him. A whole life he has worked selfishly. Somehow, so once he got whatever, $5 million, $10 million, I mean, Florida, this is what he could think of. No retirement. I repeat, strike out that word from your dictionary. You have dictionary, right? Strike it out. And whatever field you are engaged in, try to work as selflessly as possible. Don't worry about what is selfless action. I already explained. From unselfishness, remove I, my, ego, and only one goal, the goal of moksha, liberation, and plunge into work, whatever line of action you are engaged in. So if you do that, there is a hope for you as a human being. If you don't do either, it's a definition of hell on earth. So we'll continue next week. So from verse number 4, we have covered 3 mantras. So from mantra 4 to mantra 8, he talks about goal of evolution. So 50-60% of Upanishad is actually done. The main message has been conveyed, and mantra 9 has the most powerful message. So maybe next week we'll get to that mantra. So let's conclude for today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amitji.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amitji.
Thank you, Amitji. Thank you.
Thank you, Amity.
Thank you.
Have a good weekend, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Radhika.